Thanks a lot to Dr. Alvin. Thanks to Ian for the opportunity for us at the coordination desk to invite you to this new e-learning course of openIMIS. Before my colleague Daniela will take you on a short tour through the structure and learning objectives for this course, my presentation will serve, you could say, as a sneak preview to some of the course contents. This presentation will provide a short introduction to openIMIS initiative, on the rationale behind, an overview on the use cases and countries where openIMIS is implemented, as well as the community. The implementation of health and social protection schemes comes with a lot of challenges. Providing adequate protection for beneficiaries, so the success of health financing and social protection schemes eventually depends on highly efficient implementation of multiple complex business processes. In order to manage these processes efficiently, scheme operators will need access to appropriate digital tools. And we know that in reality, in a resource-constrained setting, that access is often missing. If there are opportunities, they're generally provided with three options. So a scheme operator can either have build their own IT system, and that seems tempting in the sense that you can build really closely along your scheme requirements, but then it has the potential to become very difficult to manage and upgrade as the scheme progresses, and complexity increases. The second option is to buy commercial. That option offers high quality tool, you got all the functionality, scalability and security, but then that becomes really expensive, not just in the upfront cost, but also in the recurring cost for every upgrade. Last option, and that's what we would like to argue here, is open source software. This could be a good solution in a sense that it allows you on the one side the flexibility to have a system that is customizable to your needs. It is scalable and secure, but an important factor here is it has no licensing cost. So eventually we come to the question, what is openIMIS then? openIMIS is an open source, a free licensed software. It's customizable to your needs of the scheme. It helps to digitalize the link between beneficiaries, service providers, and scheme operators. One of the strengths of the open source solution general is the support of the community behind. So they can provide technical support and expertise when meeting challenge, and they can also ensure that software is continually tested and tried by a diverse set of users. This is true for openIMIS, and the product comes with a package of a vibrant community of developers, users, and implementers. They can provide support and engage with a joint mission that we share. This is increasing and improving access to universal health coverage and universal social protection. Okay, and if you want to link that vision of openIMIS with the Sustainable Development Goals, then you have SDG 1.3, which calls for the social protection systems for all, and openIMIS is also contributing to the SDG 3.8, which endorses universal health coverage. If you look at the history of openIMIS, its origins lie in a digital solution that was originally developed for health financing context, in a health finance context in Tanzania in 2011. Back then, the Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation, SDC, developed technically by the Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute. We have Daniela here in the call, in collaboration with local developers. That was a management information system back then called IMIS. It was first implemented in 2012 as the IT backbone for operating community health funds in a district-based prepayment scheme in Tanzania. And the system was then adopted for a mutual-based health insurance scheme in Cameroon in 2013, and later on customized to operate Nepal's health insurance scheme, first in a pilot in 2014 and later on national scale in 2016. The growth and demonstrated potential for easy adoption to different types of health financing and social protection mechanism prompted SDC to release the management information system through an open source license. So this was how openIMIS was born. And in 2016, together with the Swiss Development Corporation, the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, decided to support the openIMIS initiative. The mandate of the initiative is to manage and promote the community of practice to further the development of the software and to support the future implementation of the software. A new master was released in 2017, and pilots followed for DRC and Chad. The software architecture has been progressively migrated to a modular one, which of course allows significant progress in terms of ease of use. And then together with this modular build, it was also possible to expand openIMIS use cases beyond health. So from 2020, the software was customized for other social protection schemes like unconditional cash transfer in the Gambia. We will look at the use cases a little bit later. In 2021, there was also an expansion in the sense of the community. So the French chapter, the To My community, was launched, which allows to really have an exchange in the community, not only in English, but also in French. openIMIS is a recognized and digital public good by the Digital Public Good Alliance since 2021. And it's listed in the Digital Square's Global Goods Guidebook since 2018. Digital public good is a term in international cooperation which is used to describe the digital tools that can be adopted to help address key challenges across different countries and contexts. For example, in health and social protection, but also in the context of climate change and education. Digital public goods aspire to overcome fragmentation, duplication, and the vendor lock-in. And there you have, there you see openIMIS as an open source approach with its global community, the modular build, the focus on interoperability, so the alignment of international standards and scalability make openIMIS a digital public good. The concept and certification of digital public goods are pushed by this Digital Public Good Alliance, where BMZ is part of it. There's another earlier concept by Digital Square, a path-led initiative funded by the United States Agency for International Development and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this is on global good. They had introduced this earlier, and you could basically understand it as a digital public good focusing on the health sector. So where is openIMIS used? You can see here from this map, in total, by now, we have 11 health and social protection schemes served by openIMIS in 8 countries, reaching altogether close to 10 million beneficiaries. And what you can also see, there's some logos added here. openIMIS is not only implemented with funding by the German and Swiss Development Corporation, but also with funding by the Belgian and French Development Corporation, the European Union, and the World Bank. And there are also other implementing agencies next to GIZ, like for instance, Enable and the French agency AFD, as well as the ILO. Here with this slide, we come to an overview on the workflows, the business processes of openIMIS, and you will recognize these depicted here are clearly in the health context, in the context of health insurance. So to go through the steps, in the first step you have the beneficiary management. So when a household or an individual registers for a health scheme, that can be done paper-based, but also with an enrollment app via mobile. The data is then stored in a central server. And then in the next step, in the service utilization, this means like the patient eventually visits the health facility and the health facility staff can verify that a patient is enrolled for the health insurance. They can then enter the claim once the treatment has been completed. In the step of the claims processing, the health facility staff would submit the claims, and this will be reviewed by the claims manager at the health insurer. Depending on the decision, the payment is then approved. And then in another step, openIMIS offers some reporting functions that would help the monitoring. I had stressed the modular build in the earlier slides, and this is what eventually allows the flexibility in use cases. So you have openIMIS from the origin, supporting health financing schemes in the informal sector, but then now also in the formal sector. You have voucher schemes in health context, and it could be also applied to other contexts. And you have employment injury insurance schemes, as well as cash transfer schemes. And with these two, you see that the expansion into the social protection schemes. Sustainability is, could say, part of the vision or the mission of openIMIS, and it's presented, or openIMIS presents a sustainable solution in manifold ways. It's an open source approach, so it means everyone has access to the source code on GitHub and everyone can contribute. The modular build means it supports the flexibility and adaptability to different implementation contexts. The interoperability, so it means the alignment with international standards, make it fit into existing digital environment and boost the system integration. The scalability helps to really have your pilot quickly expanded also to national level and cover additional regions or cover additional schemes. Then you have the community, which is key, as I stressed before, that community can support you in the background of health and social protection schemes. And I will come to this also one more in the next slide. As a digital public good, openIMIS feeds on the open and collaborative process of developing and maintaining the software. Knowledge about the software and its implementation is not concentrated in the hands of few or of a company, but it's diversified. So community members, including the developers, users, and implementers, they contribute ideas and innovations. As a result, everyone in the community can learn, improve, and therefore benefit also from being part of it. The best ideas are integrated in the core version of the software and then made available to the users everywhere through the periodic releases and updates of the version. In this way, the tool continuously gets improved through feedback from users and practitioners who, by working with the product, become part of the process, which goes beyond their own implementation. This is a dynamic process of co-creation and it needs facilitation. In the case of openIMIS, that has been guided by a product group. It comprises of a developers committee and an implementers committee supported by a coordination desk. And the role of this group is to bring the right players together, to guide the technical transformation and development of the software, and to promote the tool amongst potential implementers. Community activities and events are one channel to actively promote openIMIS. Members of the community organize their own virtual or in-person meetings, and we have here one of the examples by EHIN with the regular EHIN hours. But we also participate in external events. So these are all chances to raise the awareness of the tool and attract interest of potential partners. I would like to close the presentation with a quick hint at the Catalytic Implementation Fund. This is a tool that was developed or established with together with the Ministry for Economic Cooperation Development in Germany and from the Swiss side. So there is funding, seed funding, initial funding for implementations, also supporting feasibility studies in an early step, and then implementation, not in the sense of the full-fledged funding, but as the name says, in a catalytic way. So the sustainability of an implementation is really an important factor when deciding who can be offered this support. There's you can with an expression of interest signalize that there's interest in that funding, and this would be followed basically, or in the first step, you go into the more detailed discussion with the coordination desk, who would then also advise you on how to work with this expression of interest. Okay, with this, I would close the presentation. Thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm happy also to have Daniela presenting in the next step, then the introduction to the e-learning course. Thanks a lot.
All right, hello everybody. So that's been Ms. Constance Lang introducing the openIMIS initiative. So apologies about the blacked part in the corner earlier, and thank you to Dr. Chamika for offering the solution. For the next part, we have Ms. Daniela for the e-learning course introduction.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining. I hope you can hear me clearly. So so thank you to Constance for this introduction or this presentation of what actually openIMIS is and what the initiative is all about. I'm now going to focus on introducing the e-learning course that we have developed. So I'll first just give a brief introduction to the e-learning course, then I'll talk about the target audience and what the kind of prerequisites are to taking the course. We'll look at the course structure and the different modules, the learning objectives, and then I'll end my presentation with a short demonstration of what the e-learning course looks like, what the platform looks like. So yes, so it's my pleasure to introduce this new e-learning course. And basically, we started the development of this e-learning course about a year ago with the idea of putting together various capacity building material that was already available at the openIMIS initiative and creating new content to form a self-paced e-learning course. So self-paced means that anyone can register to the platform for free and do the e-learning course at their own pace. And if you complete all the modules at the end, you'll receive a certificate of completion. So the development of the course involved, through the process, we involved the openIMIS community members and the users of openIMIS as much as possible to get their feedback and to see really what was needed by community members. We did this in collaboration with Swiss TPH's Department of Education and Training. It was mentioned at the beginning, together with my colleagues Axel Hoffmann and Joachim Pelikan, that have multiple years of experience in education and training and specifically developing e-learning courses. So that was really important to get kind of the methodological background to provide a really high quality e-learning course. We decided to host the course on the platform socialprotection.org, which I'll show a little bit later on during the demonstration. And it basically uses Moodle, which I'm sure you've already heard about. It's a technology used for multiple kind of e-learning or university-based education platforms. And for this e-learning course, we did kind of focus a little bit more on the health financing aspect of openIMIS, but we do show as well the potential and the use in other contexts of social protection, as Constanze explained in her presentation. So the target audience was very important from the beginning of the development of the course, to make sure that we are creating content that really fits the possible participants of the course. So what we decided is that it would be kind of for mid-level managers, government, health insurance companies, or NGOs with basic health financing and ICT knowledge. I think the most important part here is the basic health financing and ICT knowledge. Whether you're from a government or even academic background, you just need basic health financing and ICT knowledge to be able to complete the entire course. So we developed the course using a modular structure. So each module would have a set of learning objectives. The content is broken down into several modules. In terms of time, we try to keep the time for each module between 30 to 60 minutes long. And of course, modules are in a logical order. And at the end, you would get if you've completed all of the modules, you'll get a certificate of completion. So this is the structure of the course with the 4 different modules. So the first module covers the basics. So basic health systems and health financing concepts. As I mentioned before, that was the focus of this e-learning course. A general introduction to openIMIS, so actually very similar to what Constanze presented at the beginning, talking about the general concept and the history of the software, and then a description of the basic functionalities of the software. Then the module 2 tries to fit openIMIS within a national e-health structure. So talking about digital strategies, the e-health landscape, especially the importance of ICT and data governance, and finally covering the aspect of interoperability of openIMIS with other softwares. The third module gives an overview of use cases, as well as talking about how you can implement openIMIS. What are the different steps to an implementation? Finally, the 4th module covers openIMIS as a global good and highlights this aspect of sustainability, which Constanze also mentioned in her presentation. We present the openIMIS community and what the community does, as well as some examples of events. So for the learning objectives, this is just the methodology that we use to define learning objectives, using these kind of strong verbs, but I won't go into detail here. I'll actually straight away go into the learning objectives that we defined. So we defined 2 main learning objectives for the overall course. So it is to outline the use of openIMIS as a strategy for ensuring access to UHC and USP, as well as utilize knowledge on openIMIS to promote the advantages of the software with others, including superior managers. So really getting to know openIMIS, what it is, and then be able to promote it and talk to other people about it and its benefits. So these are the learning objectives per module, so they're more specific than the 2 others that I just presented. So for the module 1, it was to understand key health systems and health financing terms, explain the functionalities of openIMIS, specifically focusing on enrollment and claims processes, and then outlining the boundaries of openIMIS, so what it can and cannot do. Module 2, relate the position of openIMIS within a national e-health landscape, summarize the interoperability of openIMIS with other systems, and compare it specifically with software such as DHIS2 and openMRS. For module 3, the main goal was to explain the achievements of openIMIS in selected countries and regions, show diverse use cases, so different types of implementation scenarios that openIMIS can be applied in. So for example, health insurance, employment injury insurance, cash transfer, income transfer, etc. And then compare the processes of implementation in the shown cases. Finally, for the 4th module, the learning objective was to discover how the openIMIS community can support new implementation teams and how learning from local implementations can benefit the global product and community. And of course, appraise the value of actually being part of the openIMIS community. Okay, so now we can take a first look at the e-learning course. So as I mentioned before, it's hosted for the moment on this platform called socialprotection.org. We do have plans to possibly host it on other platforms, but for now it's on this one. What you have to do is create an account with socialprotection.org, which is free. You just have to provide an email and a password. And then you arrive on the course page. So this is the course page. Actually, I think I will stop sharing the slides now and go straight into my browser. Let me just switch over. Yeah. Okay, so this is the course page, which just provides a very brief overview of what the course is, what is it about, what are the learning objectives. And to start the course, you go to course site. So this is actually where the course starts. Again, there's a short introduction. Here you have the different elements, so you can check grades. You can go to this final quiz, to the certificate. And basically, to start the modules, you go to eLearning module. And to the, okay, and now it opens up. So I just have to check because I was, yeah. I'll go to the introduction page. So here you have, on this section here, you have the list of all the different modules and all the different pages and slides. You can easily track which ones you've done and which ones you haven't with this tick here. Mine are all ticked because I've gone through the whole course already. And for each slide, then there is a voiceover recording. You can press play, you can press pause at any time. That's kind of the benefit of having a self-paced course. You can go directly to the next slide. So that's kind of how the whole course works. You can also take away that sidebar if you want to make it a little bit bigger. Then the other aspect of the course that I haven't mentioned yet are the quizzes. So during the course, there are a set of quizzes. After a few slides, there'll always be 1 or 2 quizzes in between. These quizzes that come up during the course, it's more to keep the participant active and involved in the course, so you don't have to put the correct answer to continue. I'll just show an example. Let's see. Quiz, yeah. Here, so this is what the quiz looks like, and then you can submit. But you do have to submit an answer to be able to go to the next slide. But it doesn't have to be correct. So you will get then the response if it's correct or not. And if it's not correct, you'll get a response saying which one was correct. Then at the end of the course, when you've gone through all the modules, there is a final quiz. And this final quiz has to be taken in order to get the certificate of completion. So I'll go here to the final quiz. This is what it looks like. I've already taken it, so you can see that I passed. But I'll just give you a preview. It works, yeah. So there are 20 questions, and the 20 questions cover all 4 modules. And so you go through all the questions and submit your answer. And then once you have passed, you should be able to get the certificate, which is here. Let me see if it generates the certificate with, just make it a little bit larger. So you get this generated PDF certificate with your name automatically. And then you can save it basically to your computer. Yes, so that, I think, I don't want to show you too much because I'm sure you'll all have fun looking at it yourselves and going through the modules. But that's just to give you a little bit of a navigation tour of how the course works. I will go back to my slides just to make sure that I didn't forget to mention anything. Now it went from the beginning. Yes. Yeah, so this is just the different quizzes. So there's multiple quizzes during each module, but they don't need to be correct in order to advance. And this is the final quiz. And the certificate of completion. And that's it from my side. So thank you very much for your attention. And I guess we go to questions and answers. Cha, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Daniela. So to all our participants, if you have questions, you may type them in the chat box. Or if you would like to participate using your microphone, we have enabled everyone's microphones already. We also have Ms. Constance Lang on the line.
Yes, Chow. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there's a question from Dr. Julius, Daniela. So is the module mobile ready?
The socialprotection.org platform, yes, should be able to be accessed with the mobile phone. Constanza, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that should work.
I haven't actually checked myself on a mobile device so far. I guess it's optimized for it. I'm not sure with the navigation, you might come a little bit to your limits on the smaller screen. As you saw, it's kind of several navigation elements at the site. But yeah, if you're fine with that, it should generally be supported.
Yes, doctor, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah. I just want to know in which country rather than Nepal that openIMIS implemented on issue of health insurance.
In terms of health insurance. Okay. Yeah. So we have the health insurance focused implementations by now in I think 9 of the 11 countries. So there would be implementations, yeah, as you said, in Nepal, started in Tanzania, in Cameroon. We have diverse schemes, like also a virtual scheme, then in Chad, in DRC, and then we have 2 younger implementations in Niger and Mauritania. So that would be more with the health focus.
You mean the country has already implemented both formal and informal?
Oh, not automatically both. Yeah, no. The case of formal and informal health insurance is this would be really Nepal case, because they have different scheme operators, so to say, running this, whereas in the other cases we have mostly the informal scheme served.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Haji. We have another question from one of our participants. It reads, can the software be modified and resold?
Yes, in a sense of the free license, that is possible. But not, I mean, it goes with, it transfers, so to say, the conditions that go with the license. So on the selling the license, I mean, there you have to continue, so to say, on terms of the license that you modify, on the software that you modify.
Yes, thank you. Regarding the online course, if for example a participant takes a quiz and they didn't pass on the first take, are they allowed to retake it again and until they pass?
Yes, yes. You can retake it, I think, as many times as you need to get the correct answers.
All right, thank you. Are there other questions from our participants?
May I just add one point on the platform, because that was maybe in the demo not visible right now. So there is no restrictions to who can take the course. The platform itself, you will see, you need to register. So again, there is no restriction who can register, but Daniela, of course, could, so to say, right away jump over from the introduction side on the platform to the course site itself. And you would usually experience, if you're not using that platform so far, I mean, socialprotection.org is basically really a big knowledge source. And yeah, this combination also with e-learning courses in the field of social protection. So you would just need to register to then really enter the course.
Yes, thank you, Constance. They're asking the name of the course out there. Daniela answered it already. Is it searchable, the title of the course, or they have to go to the link directly?
Yeah, it should appear from now. So the course was is basically open since yesterday, technically open. It can be started at any time. So there we actually had a little bit of discussion. It might appear from the introduction explanation that it restarted from 5th of May and has to be started then. But as Daniela explained, it's self-paced, so you can start at any time. That was just indicating from what time it's really available openly on the platform.
Around until when can the participants access the course? And is there a limit on, if for example they started this week, will there be a limit for them to finish the course?
You can start anytime, and there is no limit. In that sense, really, you can pace your learning yourself. Maybe also interesting with the quizzes that Daniela mentioned. So with this final quiz, even from there, you can go back to the single slides, as you might have recognized that navigation on the site. That pace is really left up to you and your schedule.
All right, thank you. Are there other questions from our participants? All right, if there are no more questions, we would like to thank again Ms. Constance and Ms. Daniela for sharing their work with us in the AN community. Before we wrap up the session, may I call on Ms. Christine for the closing remarks and reminders?
Hi, thank you, Constance and Daniela, for launching the course with the Ian community for the openIMIS e-learning course. So, thank you, Constance, for introducing us to openIMIS, where it's at, and to Daniela as well for sharing the modules covered for this new e-learning course, openIMIS e-learning course, hosted at the socialprotection.org. So in this webinar, we actually have a mix of participants from our country hub representatives and their target groups for the e-learning course. And I can also see some general AN members. So we'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us in this launch important course for digital health practitioners in general. So after this webinar, we will be sharing the link to the course so you can easily access it and so you can explore it and get your certificates. Um, just to share also among our country hubs from the Philippines, Nepal, Cambodia, and Sri Lanka, we're planning to organize feedback sessions this month on the e-learning course and reflect on how the course can be further used or embedded in their respective universities and institutions. So we'd like to take this time also to invite the participants of this webinar to join us at the openIMIS Regional Hub in Asia. You can send an email to the AN Secretariat, and we will be organizing calls with you and inviting you rather to our regular community calls. And I think that's it for now. Thanks again, everyone, for sharing your time with us. If you have questions to Daniela or Constance, we'll take it forward, relay it to them, and you can send it to the email address at the chat box. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thanks a lot on us for organizing, and thanks to the participants for your time in the evening. Bye.
Yes, thanks everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to Ksha and
Bye.
Christine for
Bye.
organizing.
You.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.